Welcome back. The rise in extortion, especially where violence is concerned, is getting a high priority in Ottawa. The federal government unveiling new measures this morning aimed at better protecting Canadians and businesses with financial intelligence.
I have directed the CEO of FINTRA, in fact, a week ago, because we knew we could not wait. This is an important issue for families and workers in the region to take immediate action to prioritize and mobilize resources to support law enforcement in detecting and disrupting extortion, and by deploying liaison officers on the ground to work alongside our law enforcement partners in selected regions of the country. This has never been done before.
Sean Pine says the new measures will strengthen the ability of law enforcement to, quote, detect, disrupt, and prevent extortion across Canada, especially in the hardest hit areas like Ontario, BC, and Alberta. The Finance Minister has directed the head of the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, that's better known as FINTRA, to reallocate resources to support police in following the money from these financial crimes. FINTRA will also work with financial institutions and the private sector to identify red flags for extortion. All right, joining us now, former Chief of the West Vancouver Police Department and former BC Solicitor General Kash Heed. Nice to see you again, Kash.
Good morning, Carolyn.
What do you make of this announcement?
It's a year and a half too late. And let me explain that for a bit. FINTRA is an intelligence agency, and they've been around for about 25 years now. And they provide intelligence to law enforcement on suspicious financial transactions that have taken place. Now, the majority of people that are paying the extortionists from the South Asian community are not notifying law enforcement that they're actually doing it. And a case in point, one individual, he was extorted of over $3 million. He transferred the money from a chartered bank in Canada to 5 different bank accounts in India, and I'm sure that was moved rather quickly. The point being made that the ones that are paying it are not necessarily notifying law enforcement, so law enforcement doesn't have a key suspect that they can go after. So it's a little backwards, because you need to have someone to target to look at what they are doing with the financial money or the transactions that are taking place, not necessarily the victims.
Okay, but let's just tease apart that example you just cited, for example. If the victim themselves is not reporting the crime to police, but in this new model, FINTRA will be working with financial institutions such as banks. Could the banks themselves not identify this red flag and say, wow, this is a really suspicious transaction for a large, uncharacteristic sum from one account to another offshore or foreign account? We're going to flag this to FINTRA. Wouldn't that catch it?
That's an important point, and this is key to the individual that gave me this intelligence based on what happened, is the fact that he thinks he has done something wrong by paying the extortionists. So if in fact a chartered bank in Canada identifies a suspicious transaction to out of the country or someone else, they can absolutely do that. But again, now we are going and targeting the actual victim who has paid the money. So this is all problematic. It's caught up in a bit of a vortex that unless we start to get some of the people that are behind it, the organized crime groups, whether it's the Bishnoi group or some other organized crime network, and follow that person's money and their accounts, we're not going to have this as a very successful tool. Carolyn, the important point to remember, most of the people that are being arrested for these extortions are the very low-level people that are on the ground just committing that particular violence against an individual. And most of them are foreign workers or international students that are here in this country for illegal purposes. We have not worked it up to a higher level. We've made accusations against organized crime groups, but there is no clear path to indicate they're involved in it.
To the first point you made, which is why now? Why wasn't this done 18 months ago? I do question the timing on this and why there was a need for an announcement today when the very premise of FINTRA is to monitor financial transactions and to trace funds. Why was an announcement needed to tell police to work together with this federal agency?
I've worked with FINTRA in the past, and again, like I say, they provide the intelligence to enforcement agencies, and the enforcement agencies must have the resources to go out and now work that particular investigation. We had FINTRA at the center of attention when we were dealing with the Cullen Commission here in British Columbia over money laundering through casinos and other avenues. And in fact, they were criticized for not doing anything beyond just gathering that intelligence. So we're back to that point right now, and we seem to be just re-announcing what primarily was this agency's goal and vision 25 years ago. So at the end of the day, Carolyn, yes, he talked about disrupting. Yes, he talked about dismantling these types of organizations. He didn't talk about holding people to account and arresting people. And I think that's what needs to happen, because this is affecting the social and economic fabric of the South Asian community in, as it was mentioned, Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia. And we need to start getting people behind bars, holding them accountable, then utilizing these particular agencies because we have a individual and working it up and then going after the money that they may have obtained from this crime.
But as a former police chief, what tools would other police chiefs currently have at their disposal to get at those who are responsible if ostensibly they are overseas?
Resources. And I've made this point, I believe, when we spoke last time. We need resources. We need on-the-ground resources, intelligence people that we can work it up to get to the people that are behind this. And there are varying aspects of the extortion. We have a very low level, just thugs that are involved in it from the local gangs. And we have the higher level that was more prominent, as I mentioned, 18 months ago in this extortion racket that's taking place. It's resource intensive, and it has to be at the ground level. We need to work it up to get the people that are behind it, then utilize agencies such as FINTRA and other commercial crime resources and tools that are available, like the minister talked about. But you need a starting point, Carolyn, and that's the point I'm making right now.
The notion of following the money when it comes to financial crimes is a logical one. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says he will come back in 30 days for a progress update. What is your crystal ball looking like 30 days from now, Kash?
Not too positive. I'm hoping I'm wrong, Carolyn. And the reason why I say this, I hope they have some significant intelligence, and now they're going to utilize that tool. But we've heard this before, especially regarding some of the South Asian community activities related to some of the assassinations and some of the other accusations made against a particular country. But we've never seen the evidence to conclude that they are actually involved in it. So I'm hoping I'm wrong this time, but my crystal ball is probably a little cloudy right now for 30 days down the road.
Kash Heed, former chief of West Vancouver Police Department and former BC Solicitor General. Nice to speak with you as always.
Thank you.